Your college coach's job is to get you to become the number one pick. He is not for you to make sure your career is a success. That's not his job.
He ain't great at that either.
That's not his fault.
He's not great at that either. That's his.
Hey, bad
First of all,
GMing.
I don't technically agree with that statement because I think your job as a college coach differs depending on what college you're at.
Yeah.
In University of Kansas, Bill Self's job is to win a national championship. That's his job. He's won one. So like he hasn't even done good in that aspect. He wins a lot of games. Yes, 100%. He wins a lot of games. But he's won one national championship. And look, when I was in Florence, they're still playing the tape from the 2008 NBA Finals, Jesus, of the championship game in the Walmart like it happened yesterday. Like in terms of that, it's still like okay, whatever. Like we want national championships. He's had teams that were good enough to win national championships. He's happened to run into some juggernauts. Unfortunately, well, I'm even saying juggernauts. He lost to Stanford with Andrew Wiggins, and he lost to Oregon that 1 year with Josh Jackson, and then he lost to who was it that he lost to? He lost to a multitude of people. So you can make an argument that he hasn't held himself up to the greatest of standards, Bill Self-wise, when it comes to his job as a college basketball coach. So yeah, you could make the argument, honestly, but you know.
Sir,
That's an argument.
that is a terrible argument. Like I get the whole thing. Like, well, first off, I'd just like to say that while you're right to some extent, at the end of the day, the ultimate job of all college basketball coaches is basically the same: to win games and then ideally win a championship. All right, Bill Self, what he only has one,
Yes.
correct? All right, yeah, that's still better than like basically every other coach, except for like what K Williams.
Yeah.
Buddy at Villanova.
Like basically there are only a handful of coaches that have won more than one at all. All right. And like the thing is, there'll be people who will complain like this and say like he's done a terrible job because we don't have enough rings. But like who's gonna do a better job? Because that tournament is a super fickle thing. One game and it's over.
So
game and it's over. Yes.
So question.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to ask you, what is okay, so let's not pretend like all coaches are created, or not all schools in terms of basketball, royalty, right, are created equally.
Right.
Let's not even pretend like that's even a question.
Okay.
If you're talking about college basketball and the coaches in college basketball, there are certain ones that are put on a pedestal above the others. They just are, right? And with Bill Self being at the University of Kansas, especially for how long he's been there, he has put himself on like the top tier, the S-class tier of college coaches. If you're on that tier, if you're Roy Williams, if you're Coach K, if you're Bill Self, it is championship or bust for you. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, that is a reality. And there's not many people up there, right? Who would you say is up there? Duke, North Carolina, in terms of basketball, UCLA.
That fan base is delusional right now, but
I know, but like in terms of just like school, right?
Right.
But UCLA also doesn't have the coach with the tenure of somebody with Bill Self, right? as Bill Self at Kansas. So if you're looking at people with tenure at a school who is also top tier, you're only looking at a select, like a very, 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 very few people. And it might be only Coach K, Roy Williams, and Bill Self. Like, it might be just those three who are on the top level.
Izzo?
Coach, say it again?
Tom Izzo? Michigan State?
Oh, Tom Izzo, too. My bad. Hold on. Tom Izzo's one for sure. And Tom Izzo, how many national championships he has? How many? I can't figure out.
He's got one, I'm pretty sure.
He got one?
Yeah. Like, here's the thing. A lot of those dudes with the tenure like that, they have a lot of wins, but they don't have a whole lot of hardware. Because the hardware that we're talking about is very, very hard to get.
Okay. I'm trying to find how many national championships he has. All right, so he has a national championship in one. He has one in 2000.
Yeah, I'm saying he's got one.
He got one 2000. So theoretically you could make the same argument about Tom Izzo too. Like, you could. And Tom Izzo's been at Michigan State longer than Bill Self has been at KU. This is a small list of championship or bust people, and he fortunately put himself in that position. That's a good thing to put yourself in the position. But once you're in the position, what happens? And he has, in the tournament, he's just been underwhelming for a significant amount of time.
What are we defining as underwhelming?
Say it again?
What are we defining as underwhelming? Is it just like he didn't win the title that year? Like, is that the only definition of this for our argument?
So like, sometimes, recruiting classes, it depends on recruiting classes, all kind of stuff. But he's had recruiting classes to when he should have won a championship. And there was no ifs, ands, or buts that. There were no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And it's known. He should have won championships. He had opportunities to win championships with championship level teams. Say it again?
Talent don't win you championships every time.
You're right. It don't win championships every time. But he's had enough times to where he had opportunities to win it. And for some reason, he has come up short every time.
Bro, all that has to happen is you get unlucky. Somebody gets hurt. A shot goes down that, like, shouldn't have. And, like, that's it. That's your season. That's your try at it.
And that can't be underwhelming when you should have won?
I'm not saying it's not underwhelming, but it's just like...
No, what is your definition of underwhelming?
For these four coaches that we named right now, underwhelming is not winning a championship. For those four coaches, you could make a different argument for other coaches, but for those four coaches, it is winning. It's a championship or bust. That's what it is. And Tom Izzo, honestly, hasn't had phenomenal recruiting classes. He's had good recruiting classes in the last, 20? How long has he been at University of Michigan? He's been in Michigan for 25 years, since 1995. He's had fine recruiting classes for most of that.
Yeah.
Like, he's had fine, right?
His recruiting classes got crazy over the past, like, 5
Oh, Jay Wright.
I can give you
Wright.
Yeah. Right? Like,
Jay Wright. He's got multiple titles.
Yeah, he got the back-to-back at Villanova.
Yeah, right? But Bill Self has won, and Allen's a Kansas fan. You know, off the top of your head, immediately, at least 4 years to where he should have won a championship. And the reason they didn't win a championship was no unlucky. It was nothing unlucky about it. They should have won.
What are the years where he should have won?
Andrew Wiggins' year.
The one where Joel Embiid's back was broken?
That doesn't even matter because they were killing without him.
Their starting center's back was broken?
They were killing. First of all, they were killing. No. If you're gonna use that argument, that is the argument of somebody. And I know this isn't even you. That is the argument of somebody who went back and looked at the rosters of that year but didn't actually watch the games. I know you watched the games. Andrew Wiggins was wilding, but Andrew Wiggins scored like 5 points in the game in that game against Stanford. He scored nothing against Stanford. It was that's all coaching, preparation. That's all putting your player in the right spots because he only took 7 shots that game. That's
Okay,
coach
so
putting in the position to win. But
well, here's the thing. You're right. Coaches put players in positions to win and be successful. But if memory serves, one of the criticisms with Wiggins was like he would disappear. Like he would have games where he just didn't show up. And like as a coach, while it is your job to like do everything you can to get your players to perform, like at the end of the day, you can't take the shots, you can't make the shots, you can't play the defense, you can't grab the rebounds, you can't get the steal. And so if that is just a thing Wiggins dealt with and like where like he would just not show up, you can do everything you can to like try and mitigate that. And like if he's having a night where he doesn't show up, you have to game plan around that. But it is not necessarily your fault that your best player, when he got touches, did not take those shots.
And your second best player, which is Joel Embiid, who was your backup player to get the points, has a broken back.
Okay. I'm going to disregard the Embiid thing because watching that whole entire season, they were cooking without him. So, like, it's fine. And they're cooking against good teams without him, too. In the game before, not the game before, it was like a few games before, Andrew Wiggins dropped 45 on West Virginia. Boom, 45, and then dropped like 5 points, whatever it was, against Stanford. So, like, that's one team. That's one team. The Ben McLemore year, when Trey Burke hit that bonkers shot, that falls in line with the lucky and that's all process, right? Like that falls in line with that process. So I can kind of see that when it comes along with that, because that was I don't think I've been that upset since, to tell you the truth. But they had the Frank Mason's last season with Frank Mason, Devontae Graham. Last season they should have won that year, and they got beat. Who did they get beat by? They got beat by Oregon because that was Josh Jackson's one and done year. That was Josh Jackson's one and done year.
I think that was 2018 because he came out in that crazy little draft. Yeah.
That was Josh Jackson's. And you can say whatever you want about Josh Jackson in the league, but Josh Jackson was killing in college. You know what I mean? Like you can say whatever. No, you can't say whatever about him in the league because you definitely can't say he's good. But like he's in college, or he was killing. Like he was really, really killing these dudes. So that's 3 years right there. I'm trying to get the top of my head.
Oh, they got the crap beat out of them in the Final Four against Villanova.
What year?
This is that year he was talking about. 2017-18 season.
But Villanova was also a juggernaut that year. Like they could not lose. Like that's a really Villanova was supposed to beat us. Like I'm pretty sure if you look up the whatever the Vegas betting things is, Villanova. That's so funny that your buff scratched their heads at the same time.
Weird.
But Villanova was supposed to beat us.
We over here that you were seeing those NBA videos of people doing the same for the same time. That's what that was. But I mean, look, you can go through. I just don't have the rosters in front of me at what years, all kind of stuff. But I guarantee I can find more years in the last 15 years that should have been the case for. You know what I mean? And you can, in the one championship that he did win, he won off of that lucky shot. So or
look. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
You're right. But Duke went and Duke lost to Lehigh, right? It's like the first round or something like that. Duke came back and won a couple years later. You know what I mean? Like Duke came back and won a couple years later. North Carolina, Roy Williams has 3 championships. Bill Self just got 1. And he's up, and he put himself in that top tier of coach. So I'm not. So it is what it is.
Okay.
He's won a lot of regional games. He's won a lot of games playing against K-State. He's won a lot of games playing against Baylor, who was not even a threat until the last 8 years. You know what I mean? He won a lot of games playing against Iowa State. He won a lot of games playing against MU back in the day. But once he started playing teams outside of that area, outside of the Big 12, yeah.
You trying to make me look at Bill Self funny, and I refuse. That's my coach, son.
Here's my thing, right? Because you can two things. One, there was this quote in Sports Illustrated. It was an article about dang it, what's that dude's name?
Robin Williams.
Plays for Charlotte. Played at Michigan State.
Miles
Bridges. And one of the things that they said that Izzo had told him, because dudes will come back, try and win championships and all that.
Yeah.
Izzo told him, look, if you're coming back just to try and win a championship, leave, because too much has to go right. At the end of the day, with it, a lot of stuff has to go right. You have to get good matchups. People have to stay healthy. Occasionally you just get lucky. A team will just get lucky.
No wonder you want one talking to kids like that. He's tripping.
It's the reality of the situation, though.
Help me out,
right? There are a lot of teams that were supposed to win, that were expected to win their tournament that year, that didn't. Because the tournament, you get one shot to beat a team. All right, you only have to mess up once.
Yeah, that system is not built for winning.
Shouts to Jay Wright for doing it multiple times and Coach K and them, but that is a wildly difficult task to do it more than once at all.
Well,
here's my thing. Here's my thing. If you want to say Bill Self underperformed, right? And you are entitled to your opinion. I think that people tend to have unrealistic expectations of these things, but you're entitled to your opinion, right? Who could you actually get to do a better job at Kansas? Who could you actually get who would do a better job and win those titles that you say they should have won?
You give me $10 million, I can do better than Bill Self.
That's the thing.
Man, I don't know, but I'm also not in the hiring process. If I don't hire process, I find somebody.
Okay, then hush up.
And then your team would be trash for years, and y'all would cycle through 3 coaches in 4 years, right. And you'd be UCLA who've been mediocre for the last 10 years.
Hey, his joint gonna look like FAMU's coaching carousel when we first got there. Somebody played 5 games. It's we need another coach. I'm like, why?
Hold on,
they don't even know the offense yet.
They've been that mediocre. They had that Lonzo Ball year.
Haven't had nothing since.
And they had much before. They had Lonzo. Before Lonzo, they had Kevin Love and Russell Westbrook.
Oh, don't do my man Shabazz like that. Shabazz Muhammad was there for a year.
Okay,
they didn't do well, but he was
don't do your man Shabazz, who was 24, trying to be 18-year-old. Shabazz over here. That's your man's. That's your man. You want to hang your hat on Shabazz.
Listen to me. When I was watching Shabazz play in what was it, 2012? Was it?
No, it was before that.
It was before 2012?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was 14. Shabazz Muhammad was a god to me. That dude was 6'8" and could do everything. He was super athletic. I was sign me up.
Oh, that was when you were too young to realize that a left-hand person had no right. And you didn't he had no right hand. He had no right hand. That's why when he went to the league, he couldn't do nothing because he had no right hand. And he's not James Harden. He barely Michael Beasley. Not barely.
Oh yeah, that's
definitely not Michael Beasley. You know what I mean? Yeah, you were too young to appreciate the flaws of Shabazz Muhammad. But we all had those players growing up. What did you say?
I could have swore up and down there was no way Nerlens Noel was better than him that year.
First of all, let's never
It's hard to
forget
bet when you're
Calipari's
hurt.
New Orleans Noel's year. Let's never forget that.
You said what?
Let's never forget that Calipari Noel's year. That year was.
They didn't do well because Noel got hurt early.
They didn't make it to the.
I thought he got.
No, he played the whole season.
Yeah.
Oh well, he got hurt, and like they didn't make it into the tournament. They lost in the NIT.
Oh no, he got hurt in the NIT. I think he got hurt in that game.
He got before the NIT.
He played the entire season. He was just a boo boo.
Nah, he got hurt before the NIT. I remember that.
Oh my gosh! I remember people like he stopped people wanting to have flat tops and playing. People have flat tops, go out there. Noel stopped that. They said, "Oh no, we good." They cut that thing off real quick. That was nuts. Yeah, that was a bad year.
Yeah, he tore his ACL against the Gators in February of that year.
Oh, I do remember that. He did tear his ACL. Because he had to take his first season off the I forgot about that.
Damn.
Sad. Got sad.
How we gonna end the podcast on a sad note unless y'all got something else?
What was it? I did want to cover a couple things. So McCord Maker is currently out with like a groin injury that was apparently bothering him for the first Howard's first two games. I'm just like, I guess y'all know thoughts. He actually looked pretty solid. Like his numbers don't really show it because like he didn't really get enough touches in places where he could really be effective, and like there were possessions where like they just didn't pass him the ball for reasons God only knows. But like they don't look like a total dumpster fire. Well, if they can fix the rebounding, they will not be a total dumpster fire. Like his teammates look like they can get to the point where they can play a little bit. Like they showed a little, but like if they don't fix that rebounding, it's gonna be a long year. With or without it.
Is Howard coming out the MEAC this year?
If they don't fix the rebounding, no, not at all. No, like here's the thing. I don't think I remember watching folks literally watch as the rebound hits the floor and like not going to get it. Like
I coach my kids to do that.
You are careful coaches to do that mess. But no, like they don't really box. It's a team wide thing. Like they don't really box out. They don't hustle to the rebound, and like it hurt them a lot as a team, both with him and without him. It's like you can't just like let dudes come and keep getting offensive rebounds. You can't win games like that. Yeah. But Maker himself looked pretty solid. It'd be better if he got more touches. I think they should put him in the high post because then it gives him the option to do all the things he probably wants to do anyway. And like it should be an easier pass to make than trying to get it to him in the post. But also the point guard has tunnel vision. So
it happens, yeah.
Memphis is playing very selfish offensively. They lost games they didn't have to lose. They got utterly destroyed by Charles Bazzi. What was it? I think 25 points, 14 rebounds, and like 7 blocks. I think that's what I said. Yeah, it was something like that. It was some outlandish stuff. Like, but like that selfish play offensively not going to win the game. Like I mentioned, Bazzi is a problem, of course. Sam played Georgia. Georgia didn't really, at least like what?
Phillip being stupid. Keep going. Yeah.
But like Georgia, like Fam looked like they'll be pretty good. Georgia they're gonna get destroyed by Kentucky and Tennessee and Florida and probably Alabama. And LSU. I forgot about LSU. Like it's gonna be a long year for Georgia. It'll be a much better year for Fam. Um, let's see. Is there anything else?
Oh, I had something. I meant to mention this last week,
Hmm.
but I just remembered.